Hey folks, I'm gonna try one of these shorts here. Got these sawhorses done, hoping to have the video for those out pretty soon. Gotta work on those, put some finish on them, and then I can work on the video, getting that finished up. But that means that's almost time to get back on the sawmill. Unfortunately, last year when I first got the sawmill, I let it set out there for most of the summer, probably 4 or 5 months with some non-ethanol free gas in it. And ever since I've been trying to run it, it ran all through the winter, but I had to run some seafoam through it. It never quite worked like 100%. It would like stall out on me when trying to get the motor running. And so it's got to be something with the carb. And here's what's happening. Whenever I go to turn the ignition, when it first starts and everything's clear, it'll run for a few seconds and then it'll stall out. And when I try to keep cranking it, gas actually comes out of the exhaust. All right, so it's just pushing a ton of fuel through the carburetor. And I've done a little bit of looking online, searched the YouTube gurus, and what I found is with those symptoms, it's very likely that the float. So inside of the carburetor, there's a little float valve that keeps the bowl full of a certain amount of fuel, and that feeds the engine. And then as that gets low, opens, pumps fuel into the bowl, the reservoir, and just keeps working back and forth. And these Kohler engines apparently sometimes have an issue where the float, which is just a hollow plastic device that's supposed to do exactly what it sounds like, it's going to float in the gas, fills with gasoline. What? That is dumb. So I'm hoping that's not the problem. I'm hoping all I have to do is get in there with some carburetor cleaner. I got a carb cleaning kit somewhere over here. All right, it's got a whole bunch of gadgets and gizmos for cleaning out carburetors, little cleaning springs and brushes and things like that. So this project right now is going to be disassembling the carburetor, looking inside of it, cleaning the jets, cleaning up the float, and just doing a good overall cleaning, and hopefully getting the sawmill running. And if that's the case, then lesson learned, no more non-ethanol free gas, which means I'm gonna have to make an extra 10-minute round trip to go get gas. Oh, whiny me. No, it was just more convenient to go here. I was putting seafoam in it, but I'm guessing that's probably just not enough when it sits. Well, there was no seafoam in it initially, so that probably gave it the initial gum up. And yeah, so I'm just not gonna mess around with it, you know, on a important, expensive piece of equipment like the sawmill. Only the best. Only the best. So I'll kind of bring you along with me here, and fingers crossed it works, and then I'll put this out there as a short, and we'll see how it works. So thanks for following along. Hope we learned something together. And when this is all said and done, if it doesn't work, give me any recommendations, because I'm not a small engine dude. Was at one point in my life, and I've now filled my brain with so much other useless shit that I don't remember how an engine works. So anyway, let's get to work. And another quick thing, I've been borrowing my father-in-law's forks for my tractor that he has for his Bobcat. And well, I found some online. They're beefy. They were a good price, so I got them. And then I spruced them up with my favorite colors. Red, white, and blue. Oh yeah, that's looking good on the Indian tractor. But yeah, check that out. Oh, little spray painted flag action. I even got a little bit on the back, although it's not quite as pretty because it was harder to get to. But I'm digging it. Fire this thing up and go drive down to the shed real quick. We'll be back. So I'll kind of show you what I've got here. I've got a little toothbrush to do some scrubbing. Got my carburetor. The gasket's been removed. I've got this kit that I got off of Amazon. I don't know if it's any good. We'll see. It's got this little ice pick looking thing here, so I can shank somebody if they come onto the property. These little spun wire, spun wire thing, so I can clean out the jets and various little ports. It's actually got some like ones with wire bristles. It's got this thing which is more of the same, just more cleaning pieces. So I should be able to clean out any of the orify inside of the carburetor. First, the coffee mug is empty. So let's remedy that. A little bit of Joe. Oh yeah. Good. Take a swiggeroo of that. Yeah. And next, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off this cap. So that's 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this should come right off. Be careful, I'm not sure if there's a gasket in between there. That could just be metal to metal, or it could be a gasket in there, so be really careful when I'm taking that apart. I'm gonna take a picture, because these are like color coded, so green, blue, and then there's a silver. So I'll probably mark one of those red, and then we'll make sure they all go in the same spot. They've all got marks on them already from the factory, so I know where to position them. And yeah, so that's where I'm gonna start. And got this marked up: red screw, blue screw, green screw, clear screw. Now I just need to take them off. Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, here we go. First time I really jumped into a carburetor like this. Nice kind of O-ring seal. This is the float I was talking about. I might take out that screw, jiggle this around, see what it sounds like. It looks like it's moving freely, but we'll clean that up. I can already see all these little ports here. They're like plugged up with shit. So I'm gonna clean those out. Clean out what I can find down here. You can see all the junk in the bottom of this. So yeah, this thing just needs a really good cleaning. So I'm gonna go ahead and find a little plastic basin or something to put this in, and then just start scrubbing. All right, here's the top half of the carburetor, and this is the float. I take this off. There's no gas, no liquid floating around in there, so that's a good sign. But what I got here is, this is obviously, I'm learning this as I go, but this is the float valve. So that's the disc right there, that little pointy end. Oh, gas! Seats up against the valve seat that's inside of there. And looking at this, it's pretty kind of corroded and pitted. So hopefully just a good cleaning of that. This is like a rubber valve, so it should work pretty easily. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a real good thorough cleaning. I've cleaned out all of these little ports and things with the little rods here. So that's kind of the last thing that I think I'm gonna try, and then we'll reassemble. I do have to kind of brush out all this varnished caca in here and clean up the lower half, and then I'm gonna go reinstall it, see if that did the trick. One last thing to do. Put this guy back up here. These bolts on so I don't forget. Go hook this back up to the mill. But before I can fire it up, I gotta go get some gas from the racetrack that doesn't have any ethanol. So, hopefully that was a success. There was nothing here that looked like really bad. I think I just needed to clean out some stuff. So hopefully all the ports and jets are good, and the float is working the way it's supposed to. I can hear it bouncing around in there. So yeah, let's see how it works. Never seen one of these jiggler units. These are pretty fantastic for siphoning gas. Pretty easy. Just put it in there, hence the name jiggler. It's got a little like marble in there. And this thing will suck down 5 gallons of gas like nobody's business. Refilling with ethanol free, and yeah, let's see how this works. Fingers crossed, folks. Fingers crossed. For less new mill to have more issues. See what we got. Choke. See what we got. Well, big win out here at the hills. Lesson learned, I think. Now on, shutting it down at the end of the day. We're gonna shut off the fuel line supply. Just let this thing run out of gas because I mean, that was a relatively easy fix, but if I can avoid it, then fine. So when I'm shutting it down for the end of the day, I'm just gonna go ahead and shut off the fuel supply there, fuel cutoff, and let this thing run dry. And it should alleviate any issues with that. Worst case, I'll have to drain the gas out of the tank if it's been a few months and then refill it, but the non-ethanol gas should really help with that. So, she's singing. I'll get a little bit more time on it here during the week. And I think next weekend I've actually got to do the oil change on it. Kind of neglected that over the winter. You're supposed to do the oil change at 10 hours from the initial run. And I'm at 70 hours on the mill. So yeah, it's time for a little bit of maintenance and upkeep. And I've got to get a new tarp and cover this thing up. The one that I had over winter got destroyed by the snow. So a little work to do. One day we'll have a nice cover for it. But for now, make it work. Thanks for watching. Glad everything worked out. Glad y'all were here to witness the success and not the failure. Catch you next time. Adios.